Hi guys, today is January 30th. It's almost midnight, so it's almost January 31st, 2020. My name is Heidi K, and I'm back for day number two to talk about mental illness and kind of give you a overview of the different diagnoses that I currently have and to tell you kind of like what I know or understand them to be. Um, I do want to start off by saying yesterday was a beautiful day. I'm going to try and be positive in my um, videos because I know yesterday I was very deep and talked about the different traumatic moments that have occurred. And honestly, that's not even all of them. But I just wanted to kind of give you an overview of who I am and how this mental illness has started to progress from years through the years, I should say. But yesterday was a beautiful day. Let me start with that. It was my birthday, and I received so many wonderful birthday wishes. I had an amazing day with my mother and a really good friend of mine. And um, as time goes on, I will explain how that day to me yesterday, I am so grateful to be able to get through. Whereas days in the past, I didn't do so well with situations as yesterday was, but yesterday was beautiful. I couldn't have asked for a better day. Um, I'm currently on day 4 of a new medication. It is it's I don't know. I do have some I guess I want to say muscle spasms or jitteriness. I feel very jittery. Um, So today I did take a Xanax and I slept for about I don't know 5 hours I think. Um, excuse me. Um, I'm gonna be really honest with you in these videos, and I might be all over the place because that's kind of how my brain is right now. So if you can follow along, great. If you're not interested, I totally understand. But if you also want to learn about mental illness and um, the progression with medication and how people get better. I'm going to show you that hopefully through these next few weeks as I get used to the medication, get the counseling that I need, and move forward in my life. There are many, 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 many people that suffer from so many different kinds of mental illness. And just the word mental illness scares the hell out of people, period. So, I want to change that. I currently right now am considered SMI, which is seriously mentally ill. Now, when you receive a title, if you will, of seriously mentally ill, it doesn't make your brain feel so great. It doesn't make you feel so great. And me, being who I am, was seriously mentally ill. Really, what they're trying to say is that I can get more benefits through the state of Arizona to help me in my recovery. The problem is that it's a system, and the system isn't always so amazing. Um, I just recently, in the last 4 months, went through hell with the system, and I'm not trying to place any blame on anybody. It maybe I had expectations that were unrealistic, but I hope to in the future, not only by doing these videos, maybe I can find a way to make money to help the system, or at least try to find ways to vote to make the system a little bit better for people who do um, receive SMI or, if you will, extra help from the state to help them in their recovery. Um, so I want to get the money made to figure out a way. And like I said, all of this is a process for me. So I'm starting with as fresh as I can be with you, and I'm going to show you my progress as I go along. This isn't so that I can boast about my progress. There's probably going to be some days I'm bawling on here even more than I did yesterday with telling you the moments that were not so great in my life. But I really do believe and I hope for brighter days, because if I can make brighter days for myself, that means in the future I will be healthy enough to make brighter days for others as well. Because that is what I ultimately want to do. There's nothing worse than feeling so alone, even though there's a million people around you who say they want to help. But it's true. It's how you feel, or I feel. Can't tell you how you feel. Can't tell anybody anything anymore at this moment, so I'm gonna go into the diagnoses today. I'm not sure if I said it just a little bit ago, because I've had to stop and restart these videos a couple times due to being tired and my thoughts being kind of all over the place. This one I'm just gonna go raw and leave it, because I don't know. That's what I promised to do, so I'm doing it. Today was a really rough day. I'm not sure if it's the new medication or just being agitated, but feels like I lose people in my life daily. Maybe because of me having lost so much interest in certain life activities. Also, I lose them because my reaction to things is not a normal reaction. There are things that I say and do at times that, oh man, do I wish I could control. There is no control. It's like I can't stop. When I'm so angry or I'm hurt, I'll light you up like a Christmas tree. And it's not right. I'm going to tell you right now, it is not right. But I guess this is where they've been able to diagnose me with these things, because of these actions that have happened. And excuse me, I gotta come back, or I'll just keep crying, going down that rabbit hole. Let's just start with the diagnoses. As we go along, I can explain why so many tears. Yesterday, like I said, it was kind of like a meet and greet. Excuse me. And it was pretty deep. It was a lot to take in. Probably for anyone who watched. So I appreciate you watching. That is my life. It is the truth. It's not all of it. There's more traumatic moments. But as we go along, I'm not trying to just slap you with all of them. So, the first one that they diagnosed me with, like I said, when in the last video, I was 23 when I went into the hospitals for the first time after what happened with that guy who has come in and out of my life many times since then. Why? I don't know, but from now on, not back in my life ever again. He definitely, he made his bed, and he can go lie in it with somebody else like he did before. So, depression is the most prominent one that they started out with when I was 23. It started happening off and on after everything happened with this guy. But after, the cutting started and I tried to take a bunch of pills, I was admitted into a hospital, and I had never been in a hospital before. But with depression, you kind of like lose all initiative, all interest, all pretty much want for anything. You are lost in this sadness, this deep, it's like despair, I want to say. It's so debilitating and hard to swallow for everyone. And it can occur at any time in your life. Um, it happens a lot with loss, and I'm not just talking about the kind of loss where death is involved, but I'm talking about loss with a job you've been in for, or a career you were in, or a relationship. These things tend to take us back a little bit, and depression is not something that people like to talk about because a lot of people can push through it, but still they are hiding inside that they're miserable, and there are ways around it. And like I said in the other video, um, medication is not always what I would say would be the first band-aid that should be put on when you are going through a sad moment. Feeling those emotions and learning to cope with those emotions in healthy ways is my number one way of saying, or my number one way, I would say, to handle a any kind of depression that you feel is coming on, whether it be your diet, exercise, groups, grief groups, or chat rooms that have people with the same kind of situation happening at that time. I know a lot of people, for me personally, I can't say for everybody else, and I'm sorry if I keep doing that, but for me personally, shoot, I forgot what I was going to say. For me personally, did it again. Oh, this memory thing lately is so much fun. It's part of the going through withdrawals from the old medications and getting onto the new medications. So I apologize. Actually, I don't know. I've been this way for a long time. I can lose my thought in the middle of speaking. So bear with me, please. I promise I have good intentions. Oh, but anyway, so for depression, a lot of times it goes undetected, and it can either go for a couple days where somebody just needs to reboot, or it could go for years. And unfortunately for mine, it has been years. And it was for a long time major depression as a diagnosis, and which also came with anxiety disorder. Now, anxiety comes in many different faces. Mine, I've learned, comes in anger, especially when I'm sad or scared or anything. Mine comes in anger. So, if I feel like I am in a situation where I have been backed into a corner, I will come out fighting. The way that I like to say it is pit bull in a corner, but I also don't think pit bulls are the only ones that don't like to be backed into a corner in the canine group. So, just saying, as far as my anxiety, mine comes out in anger, frustration. It also makes me physically sick. I go into severe panic attacks where I feel like I can't breathe or my life is going to end. So, I try my best to work through it with breathing, and also I've learned new coping mechanisms. One is if you can put something cold on the back of your neck, which works for me. Warm showers to just kind of calm my body down. Holding a piece of ice kind of gets me back to, if I just focus on that piece of ice, gets me back to reality, and I can focus and try and kind of bring myself out of those panic attacks. The panic attacks have not as been as severe, which is surprising, seeing as I went into this severe crisis in the last um, 4 months, I would say. Well, since I became seriously mentally ill. I'm sorry, but I just hate that title. So I am, the panic attacks have been really good. There has been no like major ones, but my anxiety has come out in my anger, very much so. It has done it throughout my whole life, but more so in the last 4 months. I lost a lot of people to that anger. Um, I almost want to say it's on the border of bitterness. Not so much at these people as it has been from experiences in my life that also I have maybe experienced something kind of like it with a person, and it triggered me, and that anger came out, and it should not have been put on these people, but that is what happens with my anxiety, and that is my truth. I honestly don't feel that the way I handle situations is particularly correct, but it also is um, the way that I learned to cope in the past. And until I can slowly change those coping to healthier coping mechanisms, I am keeping to myself. And I'm talking to you people, so we're going to go with that for now. So with my anxiety being what it was, so high, uh, they had me on different medications from 23 on. And it was kind of like I was a guinea pig, which alters your brain chemistry altogether. Now, I don't know if I've been border or bipolar my whole life, but I did become bipolar. I am bipolar 2, which is not the same as what people are normal or used to discussing. All of it is, mine is no better, no worse than anybody else's. It is just my manias are more level than super high. And it's just like I'm actually in a good mood, or I can complete tasks during that time. It may last for months, it may last for a year, but eventually I seem to fall back into a routine of being very sad. Um, with life, with everything. I can't find a positive, sometimes I can't find positive moments in days when there's so many. And I can honestly say there's so many. Like little things if we open our eyes to see them. But with my diagnoses and with having, depression, um, I tend to fall back on the negative and get stuck there. And it's almost like there's a needle, or the old the old recorders. Oh God, what are they called? You play vinyls on them. Anyway, so ridiculous. I can't remember shit. Let's save my life, but um, it's not a tape recorder, but it feels like it got stuck, and you get stuck on that negative thought, and it just keeps, that's what it feels like to me anyway. And it just keeps slapping me in the head, slapping me in the head, slapping me in the head. And I'm like, come on. I want to snap out of it. I really fucking want to snap out of it. Excuse my language, but that's the truth. And I love when people are like, can't you just get over it? Man, I wish I could. And I can't tell you how many people with mental illness just wish they could. It's like having some kind of virus that you can't get out of your body, and all you want is to get that virus out so you can feel better. And yeah, that's exactly what it feels like. And I actually just had that thought right here with you right now. It feels like I can't get this virus out of my body, and constantly very sad about things that cannot be changed. Um, PTSD also plays a big part in that. So, post traumatic stress disorder is, mine is non combat. It is brought on by traumatic moments, tragic moments in different people's lives. Mine was brought on by many traumatic moments that have happened. I do have flashbacks of times that occurred, whether they be a good memory or a bad memory, and they will be on repeat. I do have nightmares that are, um, they're not so much of what occurred. Um, well, some of them are. Some of them are more like I'm trying to save the world, and right as I'm about to, something grabs me and takes me away, and the whole thing explodes. It's just I mean, it's something that I just want to like get inside my dream myself and be like, get the hell out of here. This is ridiculous. Nobody can save the whole world just like that. But maybe we can if we do it together. I like to hope for that. Anyway, so my PTSD, they didn't find out till 7 years ago. So I had no idea what this was that was happening. I'd get stuck. I can't remember the name of what they call it, but it's almost like I'm staring off into space and this vision is continuously happening. And it sometimes is that moment that I lived, and sometimes it's something that my brain has made up because of what I lived. My PTSD was probably one of the hardest next to the bipolar diagnoses that I got. Though I do believe for myself that the borderline is the one that is the most me at this time. The bipolar is a chemical imbalance, as well whereas the borderline is a they're learned behaviors. So yes, it can be both. All of these things can be neutralized or not neutralized, but I'm not really sure what the word is. Like I said, my brain's not working as well as it normally would right at this moment, but it can be stabilized with medications. I'm just saying that go at medication slowly. Try to have the minimal dose to keep you in a stable and happy and interested in life type level. I do believe in exercise. Do I do it myself all the time? No, but I do believe in it. I'm sorry. Healthy eating, again, something I do believe in, but I don't do myself all the time. So, um, yeah, I believe those are things that, and surround yourself with good support. Um, I have been one that thought I had to give my all to everybody, and I was supposed to be their support. And there are so many people who tried to support me along the way, but accepting help was not easy. It's not easy for anybody. Yes, I would take the help, but did I really accept it in the way that where I appreciated it? No, I did not. Absolutely didn't know how to appreciate life, honestly, until recently. So, with that being said, um, I have to try and be kind to myself because excuse me, I do find myself getting down on myself for the past, and I can't go back and fix those things. With the with the post-traumatic stress disorder, those are things I can't fix, but they're visions I can't stop either. I do have better coping mechanisms now than I did, over the last 7 years, which involved alcohol, self-medicating on top of the medications they gave me, which is not good. Mixing things when you're trying to get healthy. Alcohol was a habit for me. Also a very big problem for me. Is a very big problem, and I can admit that. Again, like I said, I did not ever work the program, but I think that whatever works for everybody. Um, if you are not a good drinker, find another outlet, hiking, swimming, something that you can do instead of um, making yourself more miserable, because alcohol is a depressant in itself. And all I can speak for myself is I am not a good drinker, especially with all the traumatic things that have happened. It heightens my anger and my sadness, and it's just not a good time for anybody. So I am doing my best to not drink. But like I said in the last video, I am not going to lie to you guys, and I'm not going to lie to myself. I still do on occasion, and every time it's not a good idea. Plain and simple, it's not a good idea. So, back to the PTSD. In the last 7 years, I have learned new coping mechanisms. But because of the borderline, which is the learned behaviors from PTSD, borderline a lot of times comes from a lot of traumatic experiences throughout your life. So, with the PTSD, because the PTSD comes from my brother and the different sexual situations that occurred in my life that and the abuse, I every time I talk about it, it's like my brain goes straight to it. About the abuse and all that stuff. That's where my visions go back to. That's where the post-traumatic stress disorder comes in and plays a part with my depression, because those visions being constantly rerun in your head, that's all you can do is watch them or deal with them or put up with it. At least me. I don't know why I keep saying you, because I'm talking about me and I'm trying to help people. So, you. Anyway, tonight, guys, I'm pretty exhausted, so I'm going to cut it off here. I do want to put out there that there is the National Suicide Hotline. You can call it anytime. If you feel like you could be a harm to yourself or to others, I ask that you call 911 immediately. If you are a person who has a family member that is cutting or has a tendency to tell you they want to commit suicide and you think they are acting out or asking for attention, there is another underlining situation that needs to be addressed. So I ask that you do not ignore it, and that you are there for that person, and that you try your best to understand. Understanding is only the beginning, because it gives people the feeling that they're not alone. And if we can provide that for just one person, or if each one of us can provide that from one person, we are doing our best to change the world. I'm asking for your help in this, guys. Because for a long time I thought I didn't have that. And even when we do, we think we don't. So be that person who stays consistent. Even if that person hurts you, they didn't mean to sometimes. They're just hurting. And the ones that hurt the most are the ones that need to be loved the most. So remember that too. Please don't turn a blind eye. There's so many shootings and things that I feel could be prevented had somebody just taken the time to be persistent with somebody who had a problem, even though they push people away. Please try. Please try. And if you can't, and it starts to get on you, then do your best to find that person some help that may be what they need. Thank you again for watching, guys. I'm Heidi K, and I wish you all a great night. Bye.